September the 11th, 2001 is a day that no one living in America at that time will ever forget. I know that I won't. I was living in the dormitory on the college campus at that time. I woke up that morning, got showered, was getting dressed in preparation for just another day. I was completely unaware that anything had happened. So as I'm getting dressed, a rather hurried and frantic knock comes at my door. I open the door to find my friend Adam standing there, with a worried look on his face. He informed me that an airplane had just crashed into the Pentagon, and that previously another airplane had crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. I quickly turned on the television to immediately find the image of the Pentagon in flames, a large cloud of smoke billowing out. I didn't exactly know what to think at first. I stood there continuing to get ready for my class that day, not knowing exactly what was happening. My friend Adam there with me, both of us watching the television. We didn't know exactly what was happening. Maybe we didn't want to know. We proceeded to go about our daily lives. As I was leaving to go to my first class, I noticed a number of students surrounding the large screen television that was down on the ground floor. They were watching the news, and some of them more intently than others. I proceeded to go to class. Met other friends there that were in the same class. None of them really knew what was going on either. All we had known is that some people had died in New York. During the class, my professor came in. He proceeded to say something that rather angered me. No one liked this professor at the time, but nothing prepared us for really what he would say. He said that sometimes you're the statue, and sometimes you're the pigeon. He proceeded to say that I guess there are a lot of statues in New York right now. I remember being very, very angry at this. To me, the statement seemed rather coarse and, well, just wasn't the nice thing to say. When I returned from that class, the students watching the large screen television in the lobby informed me that a second plane had hit the second tower, and that there was talk of a fourth plane still in the air somewhere. I went back up to my room and put away my bags and proceeded to come back downstairs. I spent most of that day watching the news reports. Even when my friends and I went to lunch, the cafeteria on campus that day was completely different than any other day. On a normal day, you would struggle to hear the person sitting across the table from you. But on that day, there was silence. The only sounds were that of shuffling feet and the news reports on the radio that was actually being pumped in. No one really had much to say that day. It's amazing to think that even here in Arkansas, so far from New York City, such a horrific event could affect so many. I don't remember much else from that day, but what I do remember is the days following. The first couple of days, we heard nothing but stories of people missing, people looking for loved ones, and of people being found dead in the towers, or at least the rubble. as it continued on, we began to hear other stories. We began to hear the stories of the rescue workers, the firemen, the police, and ambulance drivers. People that, honestly, many people overlooked. Basically, we took them for granted. But on that day, and on the days following, these men and women became a true American ideal. A true ideal for all the world, to be honest. On the days following September 11th, 2001, those men and women became heroes. They were heroes before, but we didn't know. And they are heroes to this day. We owe them all a debt of gratitude. I hesitated to make this video. I didn't want it to be taken the wrong way. Some people might think I'm making this to express a certain political viewpoint one way or another, or to garner sympathy for those of us here who were removed from the event and actually felt nothing. I assure you that neither of these is my intention. I simply am making this video to remember. To remember the same way that people of my parents' generation remember the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and the generation before that remember the bombing of Pearl Harbor. September 11th, 2001 is an event that will shape the course of future American history, and perhaps the history of the entire world. It's no event to be taken lightly. In the end, the only thing to do is to remember those who became heroes that day. Those who already were heroes, and those who have yet to be.